Hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and gophers, my name's Mark Roden. Welcome back to the channel. What else is it gonna be? It's a top 10. You guys already know it's a top 10, but this time it's top 10 sports cars for under $4,000. Not sports cars. They're not all sports cars, but most of them are. Just cars I think that you should buy. It's kind of like a mix between like daily drivability, along with like how much fun you'll have in it, and how long it'll last you, and just like a combination of all the things that make a car good thrown into this list. But the main reason being like how much fun it is. But anyway, let's get into it. Alright, so 10th place is the Volkswagen Golf GTI Mark IV, coming with a 1.8 liter turbocharged inline 4 that made 178 horsepower, and it was front wheel drive, and it was a hatchback. But you could also get the Jetta, which is pretty much the same car, but I don't know if they put the GT. Number 9 is a car I literally always forget about when talking about like JDM cars, but it's the Mitsubishi 3000 GT, and it came with a 3-liter V6 that made 161 horsepower, and it was front wheel drive. And yes, I know you really want the VR4, but the VR4 is absolutely way too expensive, and you can get a base model 3000 GT to get to VR4 speeds with just a couple of simple mods and a tune. Now for under 4K, this car will be in very rough shape. The 3000 GT is always, everybody's like, oh, it's my project car. It's kind of like a 240Z that they never finish. You know what I mean? They're always like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it next week. Oh, maybe next month. Oh, maybe next year. Oh, when I turn 100, I'll get it done. If you really like it, then I trust you won't have a problem fixing it up. You'll find a passion for it. But these are also pretty rare in today's car scene. So if you do get it finished, you'll be a pretty unique kid. Number 8 is the Honda Civic SI EP3, and it came with a 2-liter inline 4 that made 160 horsepower, and it was front wheel drive too. You'll start to notice a trend when we get to the cheaper cars being mostly front wheel drive due to drift tax nowadays. Every car that's rear wheel drive is just flying up in price since everybody wants to drift. But this generation Civic only came in hatchback for the SI models. But if you would rather have a sedan, they're available too, just not in SI models. But it's a Civic, so you can get it to that speed with like $2. Civics are the ultimate car for starting your mechanic career with no knowledge, since they're so forgiving. They have such a huge community. Parts are absolutely dirt cheap. They're pretty much giving away parts. I drive down the road, I stop at a red light, and there's a guy handing me a Honda Civic header. I'm like, no, get away from me. But he's just handing it away. They're also extremely easy to work on while still being able to drive it to school and back on time. It's just this is the ultimate bang for your buck car, especially if you're trying to get into the car scene. Number 7 is the Chevrolet Cobalt SS. That stands for SmoothStance. You see what I did there? But it came with a 2-liter supercharged inline 4. That's what the SS actually stands for. I think it's supercharged, but I'm not sure. Oh no, I think it stands for Super Sport. Isn't that what? Yeah, I think it's Super Sport. But anyway, it made 260 horsepower, and it was front wheel drive. And this one was kind of weird because on paper Chevy should have hit that one out of the ballpark, but unfortunately they kind of just like bunted it and got a single. The car makes great horsepower numbers. It's really reliable. It looks pretty good from the front. The back is we don't talk about the back, but it has front wheel drive, daily drivability, all while being a supercharged Chevy. That's so you know it's going to be reliable, and making 260 horsepower for the price of a car that makes the car that we just talked about was a Civic, and it made 100 less. I think the reason it didn't catch on is simply because most people would rather own a Japanese or German car when it comes to like small and sporty. Typically, if you're going for an American muscle car, it's going to be big and bulky. And so they just kind of went with the latter. Number 6 is the Subaru WRX-Bugeye, coming with a 2-liter turbocharged inline 4 that made 227 horsepower, and it was all-wheel drive and looked like it was scared for some reason. I don't know why. I appreciate WRXs for what they are, but I wouldn't own one. The only reason is because I think they're absolutely amazing cars, especially for the price, but I see them a bit too much where I'm from. They're all over the place where I am. I'm in Connecticut, and people drive them all the time. If you don't care about stupid things like that, though, the WRX is an absolutely great choice. This one definitely looked the worst in my opinion this generation, and it's pretty old, so it's not the most reliable or smart for daily driving or fast. But when you lay on the gas and you hear that little spoolie boy just going, you'll remember exactly why you bought the car. Number 5 is the Ford Mustang GT SN97 or SN95. Oh god, now I'm gonna have to do my research, but it's one of the two. And it came with a 4.6 liter V8 making 240 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry. There is just so many Mustang generations out there with so many different engines. It's hard to get them right, but anyway, this Mustang was considered by many to be like the ugly duckling of the Mustangs, but personally, I absolutely love the SN97s. I think it's SN95. I'm pretty sure it's SN95. But anyway, I've always liked like simple, small sports cars looks, and that's what this is. The Mustang SN95 is just like a small little like sports car, and they're really good for drifting too, which is really cool. They make for good for just about anything, like straight line speed. I mean, that's where they excel. It's a Mustang. They're just absolutely beasts in straight line speed, but it's really good in straight line speed, and people daily drive them all the time. They're a good choice. Number 4 is a Lexus GS300 coming with a 3-liter inline-6 that made 225 horsepower, and it was rear-wheel drive, baby. This is the first rear-wheel drive car on the list, and it's a banger. This car came with the naturally aspirated version of the freaking Supra engine, the 2JZ GE, not the GTE. The T in GTE stands for turbo. It didn't have a turbo, so it's just GE, but it can still handle a crap ton of power. People say it can handle up to like 600 horsepower without touching internals. That's pretty crazy. Also, this car is kind of like a sleeper. It's like the average person. To us, we know what the GS300 is capable of, but somebody on the streets, they're just gonna think it's just a normal old luxury car that's just driving around. But they're getting a little bit outdated, but the car still really performs well, obviously, since it has a 2J. And a lot of people like to use them as drift cars, which is freaking sick. Seeing these things drift is really cool. If you find one with low miles, it'll be expensive, and the ones under 4K will be beaten on, but it really is worth the money. Third place bronze medal has to go to the Mazda Miata NB, coming with a 1.8 liter inline-4 that made 142 horsepower, and it was rear-wheel drive. And it looked so gosh darn cute. I think personally this is the cutest looking Miata out of the bunch. It just looks like so innocent. Everyone hates on the NB, unfortunately, because the NA just freaking knocked it out of the park. But I personally, I love the looks of the NB. I think they're the second best looking Mazda Miata ever built. Obviously, I like the NA better, but the NB looks really good. And since they're cheaper than the NA right now, yeah, I know, that's kind of crazy. It's cheaper than an NA. God, it's like a tongue twister. But it's still a really good choice. They came with the same engine, but the NB touched up on a couple of things that the NA did terribly wrong. So it's literally a better NA, and for under the price. I do understand everybody likes the pop-up headlights, and everybody wants the pop-up headlights and the simplicity of the NA, which is perfect. But the NB really is a really good choice. Second place, and this is going to be kind of like a controversial one, but it's the BMW 328i E36, and it came with a 2.8 liter inline-6 that made 190 horsepower, and it was rear-wheel drive and an absolute drift god. But the reason why I have to say that it's controversial is because people are going to say that you can't find one for under 4K, and they're kind of right and kind of wrong at the same time. You can find one under 4K, but it will be a absolute project car. You will not find a good, nice running one for under 4K. And so just keep that in mind. They're flying up in price, and right now is really the only time I can think of that they're going to stay under 4K, so just get one soon. Anyway, this car is such a cool car. To the normal person, it just looks like an old beater sedan, but to the car guy like you or me, we know the potential that lies beneath its old freaking BMW surface. Personally, I would love to own an E36 drift missile one day and just bang it into walls whenever I want to. It's such a cool car. But with that being said, they aren't the most reliable or best for daily driving unless you can find like an unmolested one. Since, like I said, they're starting to get to like S13 levels of hot boy drift spec, friggin' Need for Speed Underground, skidding around corners, meaning you're not going to find it in good condition if the owner before you has the same idea that you do right now. Number 1 is the car made by God himself, the Infiniti G35 Coupe, coming with a 3.5 liter V6 that made 305 horsepower, and it was rear wheel drive, because why not? Obviously, the God himself didn't make this one. That's the 350Z. We all know that. This car is one of the greats. I can't believe more people don't respect this car, honestly. If you ever wanted a more classy 350Z that can fit all your friends, this is literally the car for you. It's the exact same thing, except it had a longer wheelbase. Obviously, it had a couple of things that were different about it, but it had the same motor, same transmission. I was like, boy, why don't you just get one of these? Now, it did do most things a little bit worse than the Z due to the weight and wheelbase and different components, but it was still so much better than the other cars that you can get for this price. Pick one up now, though, because people are starting to think that they have something special with them, and within 6 months, they'll definitely be over like 5K. So you got to kind of be careful when looking for a G35 right now, because like I said, they're still kind of in that gray spot where people are like, oh, are they worth like 10K or are they only worth 4K? And I think eventually people will realize they are worth the money, so they're going to fly them up in price. But anyway, this is obviously an extremely biased ending to the list because I just love Nissan and Infiniti, but who doesn't? I mean, they make some great cars for the money you spend on it. Maybe if I keep telling myself that, I'll forget that I spent 5K on a broken 350Z. Alrighty, ladies and gents, that is the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I enjoyed making it, of course. I hope you guys enjoyed my little update video on the 350Z yesterday. If you didn't watch that and you care about the 350Z, go check it out, because it's just an update video. It's not cool, it's not interesting or anything like that, but I just wanted to keep, like I said, keep you guys updated. Obviously, that was the reason I named it update video. But yeah, I'm really excited with that car because we're getting closer and closer day by day, so that's really cool. Eventually, hopefully it'll be running by the end of this month, and that'll be really fun. Next video is obviously going to be top 10 cars for under 3K. We already did a lot of these videos before, guys. These are kind of repeats, and so I need more ideas. Let me know what you guys want to see, and not just like, oh, under 10K, oh, under 10K, this under 10K. Not that. I want to change it up, you know? I don't want to just have my channel be all around that. That's going to get really stale, really boring, and really fast. But anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I love each and every one of you. We are so close. We are like 50 subscribers away from 4,000 subscribers. I can't believe that. I am mind blown, baffled, and flabbergasted all at the exact same time. Thank you guys so freaking much. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. It literally tears me up when I see some of the things that we're achieving right now. I hit 50,000 views on one of my videos the other day, and I literally started tearing up at work. It was not nice, not pretty, but I just really want to say like thank you guys. I really appreciate that. Anyway, guys, das vidanya. Have a nice day. I love each and every one of you. Peace.